Hello, everyone, and welcome to the last podcast. This podcast is an international one because we finished with all episodes on the national podcasts within the partners, and now we are finalizing the year, the project, and the series of digital conversation in one international podcast with Mr. Ognjen Marković, team leader at Western Balkans Youth Lab project and Regional Cooperation Council. Ognjen, hello.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Anelia.
Thank you for accepting our invitation. So the aim of the podcast is to go more regionally as a person who is quite regional and working in a regional council. It's quite important, your insight and your thoughts about the young people and the regional cooperation and the digitalization itself. So I would start with one question regarding the kickoff of the Western Balkans Youth Lab project. It started in January 2020, and it started exactly or approximately at the same time with the pandemic. So according to you and to everything that you're working on, what are the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic on the young people from the region?
Thank you, Anelia, for this question. And I have to say that somehow when project started, as you stated, in January 2020, somehow in the same time with pandemic, it was really difficult to initiate the project as well as to establish the contacts with all counterparts that we wanted to reach out in the region, especially having in mind that when working with young people and for young people, this in-person meetings are very important. But on the other side, pandemic, and somehow as pandemic started in the same time when the project did, somehow I believe that we all learned to adjust. And, it is not an easy task to do, but we all realized what is the reality that pandemic brought to us. And somehow initiating the project and first steps of the project in the same time with pandemic was very challenging. And to be honest, was very difficult because Regional Cooperation Council is international political organization that is working in the not only in the region, but when it comes to Western Balkan 6, mostly on EU accession process that, of course, within itself has many different aspects, such as digitalization, green agenda, common regional market, of course, and so on. And somehow we had to bring RCC also closer to young people when initiating the project and actually explain why we are doing this. Why do we want young people to be active in decision-making processes? So somehow we managed. I believe now, already 2 years after, I can say that we managed, and despite the fact that it was really challenging, we spent the whole first year of the project by having the virtual meetings, establishing cooperation, and somehow really doing a wide consultation with young people and policymakers in the region to discuss the topic of the Youth Policy Lab. So somehow, let's say that even after some time, we got used to these virtual meetings, and thanks to virtual meetings, we managed to reach more than 100 organizations, which I believe if doing meetings in person, I believe we would not be able to reach so many of them. So let's say that was a positive side, and also somehow we all learned new skills when it comes to digital tools to be used, and so on. When it comes to COVID-19 impact on young people in the region, I would say that somehow, we are having the region where we have a very high rate of young people who are not employed. We are having a very high rate of young people who are not in the education or training or employment. And we are having also different types of vulnerable youth categories, which are already, by being young, vulnerable, let's say, because in that period, transition from the education to labor market, then not finding adequate job and so on, makes it really difficult. Just to remind everyone who is listening to us, unemployment rate in the Western Balkans 6, when it comes to young people, is double as high than in European Union. So imagine now on those data bringing, having pandemic on board. It definitely did not foster employment opportunities. It did not definitely foster educational opportunities, especially when we speak about, let's say, exchange between the region, but also exchange of the students from the region to the European Union. I believe that COVID really impacted, all of us, but especially young people, because, everyone is saying you are young, you can do everything, and then you are witnessing the situation where you cannot leave your home, when you cannot travel, you cannot even go to work or to your school. And somehow I believe that young people were not even when it comes to those life learning skills, we are not prepared for something such as pandemic and quarantine and everything what we needed to adjust to. So I would really say that I see young people in the region. I see us also as a great winners when it comes to pandemic, because also the young people during the pandemic were the ones who are mostly active when it comes to supporting their own communities. So we could learn that young people were even developing different tools, different, helping elderly people and so on. So I think that young people really proved that we are not part, of a problem, of a challenge, of issue, but rather that we are part of the solution. All innovative solutions that were created in the region in the past 2 years were mostly driven by the young people, and that again showed great potential that young people are having in the region. But nevertheless, all of these, I believe that really COVID impact on the young people was extremely big when it comes to employment, or rather say unemployment. But also when it comes to switching, when it comes to schools and education to digital learning. Then now, just a few days ago, we launched our second youth policy lab on mental health, and some data from UNICEF are showing that actually young people really felt the pandemic through the worsening of their mental health and the raising of being anxious, depressed, and so on. That is why we are going to work throughout the 2022 on the youth lab on mental health, in line again and in the same time with the youth lab on unemployment, because these two issues are somehow being seen by young people and policymakers in the region as the key challenges when it comes to young people. And I believe that we can connect it with pandemic as well.
Oh, great, Ognjen, great. I really liked the phrase that the young people are the winners, because most of the time, all decision makers are blaming us that the young people are spreading the virus and doing the things wrong. So it's quite inspiring for those who are listening that we are, or they are the winners. Actually, during this project, we did Youth Lens poll. It was like a short analysis of the effects of the COVID-19 pandemic. It was conducted in all Western Balkans 6 countries plus Croatia. And the 3 top effects that the young people highlighted during this research was the mental health, the employment or unemployment, and the outdated education. And actually, these are the things that also you have mentioned. So regarding the regional cooperation or the regional approach, do you think that the regional cooperation can support the finding the solution of these huge rates of unemployment? to improving the mental health among the young people, and to have a holistic approach within the educational system, who, yes, it's outdated, and one of the sudden it had to be shifted to digital, which was quite complicated for the students, for the system, for the teachers, for everyone. So do you think that the regional approach can be a path through, or a path towards better future and greater regional cooperation and regional stability?
Yeah, thank you, Anelia. I mean, I am, representative of the Regional Cooperation Council. So for me, the regional cooperation is essence when it comes to also youth participation, especially if we bear in mind that 70% of young people in the Western Balkans are the most ardent supporters of the accession of their economy to the EU. So basically, as all Western Balkan six are somehow, not somehow, but are working and are strategically oriented towards European Union, then we should definitely say that also young people are the driving force behind the EU enthusiasm. And as such, we are also having the information, and I will gladly share with you just one data from the RCC's Balkan Barometer, is that 84.7% of youth aged 18-24 stated that regional initiatives on youth cooperation make them feel more optimistic about the future. So it is not about what I think or what you, Anelia, think, but rather what young people from the whole and entire Western Balkan six are thinking. So young people are the ones who want regional initiatives, and young people are the ones who want to see regional cooperation. And in that regard, I believe, and somehow the Western Balkans Youth Lab project per se is also showing, is that young people, but maybe not only young people, also international organizations, policymakers, public administrations, all of them are willing to cooperate with their peers or with their colleagues from the region. And that is why Western Balkans Youth Lab and why the leaders of the Western Balkans actually called for establishment of the Youth Lab, is because we all want to see successful regional stories. Because on the end of the day, issues that young people are facing in, let's say, North Macedonia, and young people facing in Bosnia and Herzegovina or in Albania are almost the same. There are maybe some nuances when it comes to employment or education or traveling and similar, but on the end of the day, issues that we are facing in the region are quite similar, and therefore we all want to know what is happening in some other economy, what our peers are doing there, how we can collaborate and how we can cooperate, and actually how through our personal meeting each other we can really learn from each other actually. So I'm definitely always very enthusiastic about regional cooperation, and that is why I was working on regional cooperation even before joining RCC. Because there are many initiatives under, being organized by many organizations, but even let's say through RCC, we witnessed Balkathon, which was the digital competition on smart digital solutions, but also Futurismo as another instrument to spur the development of effective and creative solutions that would help the region adapt and also respond quickly to the effects caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. And, through all of these competitions that we again had young people from the region winning these competitions, but also having the teams that are consisted of young people from different economies.
Okay, so it's quite important and quite necessary for the young people to know how to be part of this kind of regional activities, regional opportunities, how to be part of this regional community, I would say. So could you be more specific how the young people can find you, or how to get involved, and how also they to influence to the regional cooperation and everything.
Yeah, thank you, Anelia. You know, sometimes when you are working on the regional level and when you are not present in each of the Western Balkan six economies, it gets a bit more difficult to be somehow close to every young people of the region. But that is something that we do not want to see as an obstacle, and we are trying to be as open as possible. And that is why, I mean, I would like to invite everyone who is listening to this podcast to really contact us in the Western Balkan Youth Lab. In case if you are interested only in our project, or in case you are having any idea or proposal that we could work on, especially when it comes to European Year of Youth, which is 2022, and how actually we can collaborate. So I'm using really every opportunity to invite especially young people, but also youth organizations, to reach out to us, as we are really standing open for any kind of cooperation, and we are always available for discussions. So this is mostly because of the reason that we think that young people's inputs are very much needed, and how to know and how to learn about possible inputs that young people have is actually by communicating directly with young people. As we are a small team, of course, it is not feasible to have hundreds of meetings per day, but nevertheless, I really cordially invite everyone to reach out to us. And also, if not online, when traveling through the region, we would be very happy to meet our peers. For your information, our team in the Youth Lab are all young people. We are all under 30 because, again, of the reason, all policies, projects, and activities that are being made for young people should be made also with or by young people. And therefore, I'm really happy to lead the team of young people who are very experienced, and somehow we are together working on making a better socio-economic environment for the youth in the Western Balkan 6. And again, having the data that are showing us that young people are always willing to leverage up, to learn from their peers, and mostly, I mean, let's say most importantly, that 93% of youth believe that public administrations should actually strengthen mechanisms for consulting and involving young people in decision making. I really believe that we all together have to make sure that voices of young people are being heard, and we in RCC are always ready and available to hear, but also jointly discuss possible activities.
When you stated that you stated a lot of data and a lot of numbers, and I would like to ask you, because most probably you would know. Do you think that the policymakers and the states within the Western Balkan had reacted promptly to the pandemic and tried to find some solutions for the youth and the crucial issues which were affected by the pandemic itself? And what are your recommendations for recovery policy? How we to recover after the pandemic? Okay, we are still in the pandemic, but however, we started slowly to moving towards, let's say, a normality, or in the past. But what is your advice or your recommendation? How we to recover for all of this, and how to keep with the generation, not to have another lost generation of youth?
Sure. I mean, in regards to your first question, I believe that public administration's response to the COVID on the very beginning was prompt, and they were very responsive when it comes to pandemic-related situation overall. But in my opinion, young people were not even close to the center of the attention of the policymakers. And I really hope that in future, first of all, of course, that we will not have challenges such as this one, but nevertheless, I hope that also young people will be high on the policymakers' agendas. Young people are actually 1/5 of the entire population in the Western Balkans 6. 21%, I believe. So, it is not a small portion of the population, and therefore, as the elderly ones had special attention, I believe that young people also deserve special attention, especially because of those accuses that you mentioned, I believe, on the very beginning, that young people are spreading the virus and so on. So why no one actually dealt with young people and how actually to bring the seriousness of the pandemic to young people? So, somehow to have youth-oriented actions and how to have young people responding as requested by the all measures and recommendations that were on the force. So I really hope that in future, when it comes to some challenges that are quite similar to the entire population, young people will not be left behind, but rather will be high on the agendas and general high in all policies. When it comes to your second question, we in RCC are working hard on the common regional markets. And common regional market is a story that lasts already for some years and actually stands very, it is somehow to integrate our region more closely with the EU single market through many different activities. So within the market, we are advocating for free movement of people, regional investment area, industrial and innovation area, free movement of goods and services, which actually during the pandemic showed how much we need free movement of services and goods, medicines, and so on. We need the borders who are actually open towards citizens of the Western Balkans 6. So I hope that I would really be happy to see that common regional market stands as the essence of the recovery for the Western Balkans 6. Besides that one, regional initiatives such as Youth Lab and all activities that are being implemented at the local or economy level are very much needed. And therefore, we need greater donor support for the civil society organizations, think tanks, and so on. But also, I am somehow optimistic when it comes to EU's support to the region, especially through the economic and investment plan that is actually also one of the instruments of the EU to support the Western Balkan region to recover for the COVID-19 pandemic. Within these, we are also witnessing the first steps of the Youth Guarantee Scheme to be soon implemented in all Western Balkan 6. Nowadays, only you guys in North Macedonia are having it. So those are some of the institutional, let's say, solutions for the COVID-19 pandemic. Besides all of these from the, let's say, side of public administrations, RCC and EU, I see as a very good sign that 2022 will be European Year of Youth, but also at the same time that Tirana will be European Youth Capital. So somehow I hope that all actors who are dealing with young people will recognize the importance of these two initiatives, and we should really work hard on connecting those two so as to make sure that the recovery of the region, when it comes to young people especially, comes maybe even sooner than we expect.
Nice, very nice and positive words. And I truly like when someone gives example to the young people. It's not everything so hopeless and so dark, that there are solutions and there are people and initiatives who are working for the youth and for the improvement of the quality of life of the young people in all aspects. And now is a semi-final question, because of course the final question will be related with the New Year's and greetings and everything. But now, just this year we worked a lot on, and also 2020, this is how the project was inspired by, because of the pandemic, we started a lot to work on digitalization and using the digital sphere for advocating and for regional cooperation and everything. So do you think it's possible to use all the digital tools on a proper way? Or what are the tools to promote regional cooperation and reconciliation through the digital tools, and all provided by the digital sphere? Because we know that this new generation, it's all the time with the phone in their hands, and we should find a way how to guide them through a process when they can do stuff for their social activism while being hanged up online on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or whatsoever.
Thank you, Anelia. I think that even on the very beginning, I said that as pandemic hit, it was a big challenge, but through pandemic, we all learned a lot of new things and how to overcome all the obstacles. And in that regard, I believe the digital tools are are essential for keeping on and to make young people involved also in difficult times such as pandemic. Therefore, I think that we need stronger advocacy and stronger campaigns when it comes to digital tools among young people, especially because those are not the tools where that you're using for your free time, or such as social media and so on, but rather digital tools that are really useful for learning or for working and so on. So I hope that proper education, non-formal one, about digital tools for young people is very much needed. On some more policy levels, I hope that digital strategies of the Western Balkan economies will also incorporate these digital tools to be used by young people, also in formal education system, as well as on their workplace. So I'm totally in favor of digital tools and making them more easier to use for young people.
Thank you, Ognjen, for this conversation, digital one, and for providing a lot of insights to the youth. And I'm truly sure that everyone who is interested can reach out to you and bump you with a lot of questions regarding the regional cooperation involvement and everything. I'm quite sure that you're very open to it. So as a final question, what is your wish for the youth in the region for 2020 to 2022?
I wish, first of all, of course, a lot of health and positive energy to all of us, to all young people in the region. And I would really like to see that 2022 will be a year which is European Year of Youth, but not including Western Balkans 6. But I wish to every young person in the region to feel the benefits of this European Year of Youth. And I hope that 2022 will bring us more opportunities for young people to travel, to meet, to learn new things, to advance at specific skills which they would like to work further. And that 2022 will definitely be the year of youth, not only Europe, but also in the Western Balkans 6. And thank you, Anelia, for inviting me. I really enjoyed the conversation. It is always a pleasure to work with you guys from Youth Alliance Kruševo. Thank you.
Thank you, Ognjen, a lot. And I'm wishing to everyone who's listening, Happy New Year and a happy region. Bye.